But first, many of us would like to get married, I would assume, and that's why we're talking about weddings this morning. Let's get into the photography side of things. That's why Krystyn Harder is here, and you are a photography expert.
I will take it, yes.
What do we do when we're looking for a photographer?
I think, so when you're booking a photographer, there's two really important things. One is that you love their style. You obviously have to like their work. You have to check out their portfolio, see examples, and just make sure that you can envision yourself in those photos, right? You have to make sure that it's a style that relates to your personality. You don't want something super, super edgy or darker if you're more of kind of a light, outdoorsy kind of person, right? So that's one thing, obviously. You have to like their style. But another thing that a lot of people don't think about when they're booking a photographer is that you have to be comfortable. You have to really get to know them because this is the person that you're spending the entire day with. I'm the only person that my clients, other than each other, not even each other, because during the getting ready photos, you're not seeing each other. Most couples choose not to, but I'm the only person that you're with the entire day. And if we're not getting along, I'm pretty easy to get along with, but if you and your photographer, you know, don't have kind of a similar way about things, then the day's not going to go as smoothly. And you just want to make sure that there's someone that you like and that you like to be around.
So when you're booking your photographer, what are you expecting in advance? Like, would you know, obviously I'd place a phone call or connect with you through your website. You would then meet with me, and then what? Do we kind of have coffee and see if it's going to work, or?
Yeah. So most of my brides inquire through email first. As you said, they'll tell me their date. Most people will tell me a date. Some people. As we were speaking about earlier, some people choose the venue first, but some people do choose their photographer first, and that is the biggest compliment. But if we're going by kind of how people normally do it, they'll contact me with their venue and their date and ask if I'm available. And if I am, we will go for coffee, usually, you know, just a little cafe, a Starbucks, second cup, something just casual. And I'll ask you questions about yourselves, each other, that kind of thing first, you know, how you met, what you expect from your photographer, what your day is going to be like. And I just like to get a good idea of you, just to make sure we're a good fit, and then you also get to ask me any questions that you want. And there's some clients who ask a lot of questions.
I can
imagine. Sure you know too. There's some clients who have a full page of questions for me. They've done their research, you know, they've Googled it or whatever. But there's some clients too who are like, we know, we like you a lot, and you know, we love your work, and as long as we, you know, can chat and get to know each other a little bit, then they're easy to please. So
now back to engagement, because I'm still there and working on planning the big day. I was looking at your website and I saw the boudoir section, and that really caught my eye, because during that engagement time, and speaking of trying to savor it, this was an opportunity that I saw as a great gift to your other half. And your pictures were stunning. I loved that they were light and lacy, and the ring was in them, and so it was very, very much focused towards the wedding.
So I am always thrilled when I get inquiries from brides who want to do a bridal boudoir session as their gift to their fiance. I just think it's so personal, right? You know, and it's so romantic and pretty, obviously. And so I have a team behind me, hair and makeup artist, myself, and I also have a studio that I do my bridal boudoir at. And I think it's just an amazing experience. So not only are you getting a huge confidence boost and just feeling gorgeous before your day, but you're also going to give your man something that he can have forever. You know, like it's kind of like a wedding album in that way, except you're probably not going to show it to everybody.
And I really like the idea of the stylist, your own shop. Like that's something. It's an experience for the lady as well, right?
And speaking to Krystyn's style too, she keeps everything so feminine and really classy and elegant. So you can do boudoir, and for people who maybe don't know what boudoir is, it's that lingerie kind of photography that you do, and you give it to your partner as a gift. Kind of what we do as planners is it's something that we wrap up and we give to the groom kind of right before he goes down the aisle and things like that. So you know, it makes it you're really excited to see your partner come down the aisle, really. But it can be done in many of ways, but Krystyn does it in such a beautiful way. So it's, some people have this kind of fear that it maybe it's not their style or it's too racy, but it's actually it's really about celebrating kind of the femininity and really having those pictures to always go back to.
There's something special.
That's what I think. I think it's so special. And lovely.
What about like engagement pictures with your significant other? Are those a good idea?
Oh, they're a must-have.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are the #1 thing that I think you have to do with your photographer. So going back to what we were talking about, after the meeting, you know, if everything went well, that would be the next step, is that we would book your engagement session.
Right.
So some people want winter, spring, summer, fall, whatever. If you can, you pick a date first, and then we'll pick a pretty location, something that kind of speaks to who you and your fiance are. And the most important thing about the engagement session is getting to know each other in a not just a, you know, having coffee kind of way. You get to know how I photograph, how I pose, that kind of thing, and I get to know how you two are together, because every couple is different. Some couples are so natural, right? Some couples just have that ease about them. They're the couple that you see on the street just stopping for a quick kiss and then, you know, being all cute. And some couples are just not like that. Some couples are, you know, more nervous or
need
more
a little
stiff.
guidance.
Exactly,
Yeah.
they need guidance. And I mean, there's no problem with either of those. It's just, if I know before your wedding day how you two interact with each other, then I can create the best like poses and pictures for you on the wedding day.
And so that comes in for some of your tips to make sure you get the best pictures on your wedding day.
Yeah.
What can the couple do to make sure that they're helping you get those?
So the first thing that's really, really important is having enough time.
Yes.
So as the wedding planners know, quite well, I'm sure, the day revolves around pictures, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's obviously the ceremony, like there's all the things that you always do, but the pictures are a constant factor in everything.
Yeah.
So you need to plan enough time to get the pictures that you want. So if you have, you know, a list of must-have pictures, you have to realize that you have to have the time. So for family photos, if you want tons of like arrangements, that kind of stuff, you have to make sure that you have enough time to get all of those family photos, or else you're going to run into you and your groom time, and we don't want that. So it shocks a lot of people, but I suggest leaving 3 hours for photos.
Right.
And I know that that's a huge chunk of your day, but they're your pictures and they're what you're going to have afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's also a time for you and the groom to just relax. Like, it's, you know, you're not walking down the aisle, you're not making a speech. It's just that time, it's you two and your photographer. And I always try and make it really easy and fun and just natural. And I always give the couple some alone time, because you need a break. You need to be able to pause.
You do
in your
want a
day.
little downtime during that day too,
Yeah.
right? It's so
Yeah.
there's so much going on. It's such a big deal. There's so much attention, and to have that little moment where you get to kind of come down and actually just enjoy each other, I think, and that's where you swoop in.
Yeah.
Yeah, catch those moments or guide them.
Yeah.
Exactly. You don't want to be posing the entire time. I also want you guys to just interact and be natural with each other.
So I've been to a few weddings where you have that lull in the middle of the day, so you have the ceremony and then you've got the 3 or 4 hours while they're off taking pictures. What do the guests do before the reception? Do you guys plan for that?
Or are they on their own?
We do. We
Yeah.
definitely plan for it. I mean, I've worked alongside Stav at Spruce Meadows, and it's something that we work very closely together, whether we're going to have that longer cocktail hour, how long is it going to take.
Where the guests are going to go, especially like at Spruce, they can walk around, they go into the barns. If it's a long lull, sometimes they can go back into the town and come
Right.
back. So it depends on if you're doing a 2 o'clock ceremony, I guess, or if you're doing a 4 or a 3. But we try and have a cocktail period and kind of like a little.
That's so nice. I've been to a
learning
couple of those weddings, and there's that lull in between, and you kind of just got to figure it out. But it's really nice, and if time's spent well, it's an entertaining day.
It is.
Especially at Spruce Meadows. Like, what's
Yeah.
not to do there? It's
You
such
can
a
just go
stunning-
around, and Teal and I did a shoot with horses and
Wow.
with the
Yeah.
bride. So
Yeah.
and again, going back to Krystyn, depending on how the bride and groom or the couple wants to go do their photos, they can do photos prior to the ceremony if you feel comfortable to do that,
Right.
which will help add, take away the 3 hours if you have a small reception period, and then do that and then go right into your ceremony and then continue after as well.
Something too that we notice is very on trend and is becoming more and more popular too. And you kind of have to switch your mentality of a traditional wedding and how the day's supposed to go, but it's having your photos done before the wedding. So it's called a first look, and what you do in a first look is you still have that moment set up. It's actually
Right.
much more personal.
Yeah.
It's just the bride. It's the bride and the groom, and what you do with that is you set it up so that the photographer is there, and really whoever you want comes, turns around, walks, and you have that first look and that first
I've
encounter.
seen that before from far away. It's
and it's
lovely.
beautiful. It's
Yeah.
so. I cry every time. I'm like the worst. I'm the worst person to have at your wedding. Seriously, I'm the person that's crying the whole time. But it's what that allows you to do is it allows you, first of all, that moment is so beautiful, and where people shy away from that is because you have that expectation of the first time they'll see me is when I'm standing at the edge of that aisle, and not everyone is willing to give that up for maybe a newer experience that's just as special. But what that does is it actually frees up your entire first half of your day to get your photos done. So really after that, you have your ceremony and you're headed to the reception with your guests, and then it's time to just enjoy, have fun. You don't have to worry about the photos.
Love it. I think even for the people that do have that big gap, as a guest, you just have to remember that it's their day, and they're going to do what they want.
That's true.
And even if you have to spend 3 hours in a small town or something like that, all dressed up, sitting around or at a Tim Hortons or getting a coffee, I guess you just have to remember that it is their day.
Yeah, that's what I tell my brides, right? Because they're constantly throughout the day, most of my brides are thinking about their guests, right? And their bridal party and their family. And it's like, I just don't want them to have to sit around for 3 hours, or, oh, I'm running 10 minutes late to the ceremony. I feel so bad. I'm like, this is your day, you know? And that at the end of the day, no one's going to be like, oh, the ceremony started 10, 15 minutes late. You're just going to remember like how you felt in the moment. And if you're stressed, then that's not a good thing. And going back to first looks and stuff, I just think it's such a personal, it's like everyone's different. So, I mean, it depends on your priorities. If your priority is to have a party, like your day, if you're thinking more about your guests and you just want the day to flow like a party, then I get it, do photos before. It's a great idea. For the photographer, we like that because it gives us a little bit more time, but I'm just as happy if my couples are like, we're giving you 3 hours after the ceremony, because you get the same pictures. The first look idea is nice for some extra photos of the bride and groom when they first see each other, but I'm also a sucker for the aisle photos, right? So I think you can't go wrong. You really can't.
It's up to Teal and I, the venue and the planner, to kind of keep your guests like occupied and not to worry about being food and watered and everything.
Take that stress off of you. That's why we're here.
Exactly.
Right? That's why you bring on a planner so that you can.
That sounds nice. I see the value here.
I see. What about a day? I meant to ask this earlier. What about a day of planner? Because I hear that that's a new thing. Is that just a day of person?
Yes. So day of coordination, if there is anything you invest in your wedding, it really is. It is an insurance policy on making sure that your day goes as smoothly as it can. Have someone there to coordinate your day. Having a day of coordinator, Calgary, there's actually a very big market in Calgary for it, which is fantastic. The only thing that you need to be aware of is no one can come in a week before your wedding and tie up all those loose ends. Day of coordination starts a month out. It starts 2 months out. It's huge. We go through contracts. We go through timelines. We send things out to your vendors. We become the main point of contact. So on your wedding day, you just show up. That's
so no procrastinators allowed.
No.
This is not about that. It's about getting your
but that is something, if there's anything that you put into your wedding, have a coordinator. Grooms are usually a little bit apprehensive, and then at the end of the day, when the drinks have been flowing, it's always like, oh my goodness, this was the best idea. And that's when you really see the value in it when it's said and done.